Hey everybody, Brian Horvath here, and welcome to another LinkedIn Live Q&A. I think we're like almost at a year now. A couple more months, we'll be at 50 of these suckers, and so glad that you're here with me today, live at noon. Very thankful. We're going to talk about today how to really have a lot of fun using your resume and your LinkedIn profile together to get your next job. So let's go ahead and jump into that, all right? Here we go. So how to get your resume, use your resume, your LinkedIn profile together to get your next job. And this LinkedIn Live Q&A is sponsored by this free guide that I have to help you make the most out of LinkedIn, to help you make the right connections on LinkedIn. It's called Your LinkedIn Profile Quick Start Guide, and you can download it at brianhorvath.com/LinkedIn-quick-start. It's a nice guide. I have a companion video for you as well that you'll get for free with it as well. Just give you a nice 7-step framework and kind of like a chance for you to self-critique your profile as it is today and be able to make it better so you can make the right connections. Those who need most, which you do best. And when you seek to serve those folks, you're going to be successful in your career, guaranteed. That's how it works, and I want to help you work it. But also want to remind you that every single Wednesday when we do these LinkedIn Live Q&As at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, you have an opportunity to drive the ship. And what I mean by that is to provide for me questions that you have about LinkedIn or about your career and how they all work together. And you can email me those questions at brian@brianhorvath.com. Pretty soon we're going to have a little form you can fill out. It's actually ready to go now. I just don't have it there in front of you today. But you'll be able to go to that and be able to drop in your question anytime throughout the week and make sure that it gets answered on this show or one of my shows upcoming. This is what drives the train, is by you guys participating, you guys sharing, those who listen and watch, you sharing your questions, comments, thoughts, and needs, and I go ahead and address them for you, whether it's my experience that I've had of the past 8 years or so coaching on LinkedIn, or going out and finding the answer for you, which sometimes that happens, and I'm thankful for it because I get to learn lessons as well, and of course share those with you, and then everybody wins, right? So excited to have you guys here today. You can check this out every single Wednesday. Matter of fact, you might be watching on one of these channels right now if you're watching it live: YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and also on Twitter. I don't broadcast every time on LinkedIn because LinkedIn Live doesn't love having LinkedIn Lives about LinkedIn itself. In this case, I decided today to broadcast live on LinkedIn because it's about your career development, how to use resumes and LinkedIn together. So it's not 100% solely focused on LinkedIn, but I'd love to have you catch that. And if you're not able to watch any of these lives, I go ahead and drop those into. Hi, Yvette. Thanks for checking us out live here. Appreciate it. I get a chance to have those videos kind of taken down and formatted for YouTube viewing, so you can watch those at any time. Matter of fact, you can see those archives from since when I started almost a year ago, for you to be able to watch those at your heart's content and pleasure, and to help you know, live, and love the purpose for your career and finances. That's why I'm here, to help you know, live, and love the purpose for your career and finances, and using LinkedIn as one of the tools to be able to do that. So let's go ahead and jump in. But before I do that, actually, I'd like to ask you to like and subscribe on my YouTube channel or on Facebook, wherever you're watching this at, LinkedIn, and so on and so forth. It really helps me help more people in getting out in more channels when folks like and subscribe. And so I really appreciate your support there by liking and subscribing down below, commenting, sharing, and so on and so forth. This is nothing new, but it still drives the opportunity for me to be in front of more people when you share the content or you show that you like it and subscribe to it. So I really thank you for that. Okay, let's jump into today's topic: how to use your resume and LinkedIn together to get your next job. How to use your resume and LinkedIn together to get the next job. And that's really a task that is not as hard as maybe some people think. And we'll share a little bit about that. It's actually pretty easy when we have the right mindset, when we have the right framework. And as simple as it sounds, as silly as it may sound, I'm going to ask a couple questions. Number one, what is a resume? What do you think is a resume? Put it in the chat box or put in the comments, whether you're watching this live or on a replay or video later. How would you define a resume? Love to hear from you on that. My definition of a resume is, in this case, for our purposes for today's live, is a passive, analog representation of your career accomplishments, accolades, and your career focus, or where you want to take your career. That's what a resume is. It's passive. It's not something that somebody can go and tweak. And thank you, Yvette. Appreciate the comment there. It's not something that you can go ahead and tweak on the fly. It is a passive tool. Okay. And you think about your resume. You do it once. You maybe have it ready to send in your computer to a potential job opening or position, or maybe if you're applying online or you're having an interview, you want to make sure you get that resume into the right hands. It basically summarizes what you do best to those who need it the most, and it provides, of course, contact information for people and all that to take next steps with you. You might put a couple call to actions in there. You may have, skills and abilities in a summary. I'm not really being in top to bottom order here. I'm just kind of getting us to think about that. The main thing I want us to take away from here is a resume is a great tool, but it's a career tool that's passive. It's analog. Can it be digital? Sure, it can be digital, but mostly I think about a resume, I think about sharing it in a written form or a printed form when I'm in front of an interviewer, whether on Zoom or in person. Okay, and it summarizes your career accomplishments and your focus. And Catherine says, a document to share yourself. Yeah, so that's another great point too, Catherine, too. It's a document to share about yourself, to share with others. But let's talk about what LinkedIn is, right? When we look about what LinkedIn is, your profile on LinkedIn is an active 24/7 digital representation of your career accomplishments and career focus. It's a digital piece, right? It's a digital piece. It's something that's alive and ready to be accessed 24/7 by anybody who may be on the platform on LinkedIn. If any of you has any comments about that watching this now, I'd love to hear from you as well. What do you consider, how would you define your LinkedIn profile? In this case, I kind of gave you a little bit of it already. It's an active, it's kind of breathing. It can be changed on a dime, on the fly, really quickly, whether it's through your mobile device or your computer or whatnot. A resume, not so much, right? A resume is pretty static. It's not dynamic like a LinkedIn profile can be. But there's pros and cons and blessings and bonuses and detriments, if you will, or take, things that aren't as easy to use on both sides. But I really think this is why I'm sharing with you today how to use these together, not necessarily independently, but together. So your LinkedIn profile, again, an active, digital, 24/7, 365 accessible piece of content that shares your story, showcases your value, how you're seeking to serve the marketplace with what you do best, seeking to serve those who need most with what you do best. Yvette, I like yours. Again, thank you for contributing here, guys, today in the comments. These are great at a glance view of who you are and what you're looking for. Awesome. And think about, too, who you're seeking to serve, how you're seeking to serve those folks with what you do best, right? And so what is a LinkedIn profile? What is a resume? And if we put those two side by side, we would probably say that they are different, right? They have pros, they have cons, they have things you can do, things that you can't do. If we were to put your resume and your LinkedIn side by side, but they do complement one another. They do have a chance to be used together when you're seeking a new job, when you're seeking to communicate what you do best with those who need it the most. And so that's what I want to share with you today. I want you to get thinking about how to use those in a complementary fashion, a complementary way, that they're not the same, right? They're not the same. They are different. They are unique. They have, different opportunities to be utilized. So let's talk about that. What is a best use case scenario for your resume, and what's a best use case scenario for your LinkedIn profile? So let's talk about what your resume is best. When your resume is best. Your resume is best, I believe, when applying for a job, right? And why is that? When you're applying for a job, you can make sure that resume is customized for that specific opportunity, right? And so when I coach folks on LinkedIn, on their resume, I go ahead and have them put at the top underneath their contact information, I have them put what the name of the role is that they're applying for, to make it very quick and easy and simple, to make sure there's no mistake, whether it's for a recruiter, a headhunter, or potentially a hiring manager, or who you may even be, your boss, is that you have that right up top so there's no mistake. And then putting a supporting summary statement underneath it that really adds value, that makes it easy to read real quickly. That's kind of it is a supporting statement or supporting couple sentences or phrases that roll up to that role that you're applying for. So on a resume, you can do that in a dynamic fashion, right? But in a not in a dynamic fashion, a customized fashion, right? So you know what you're going after. You have that target opportunity that you're seeking to serve, and you create a resume to that end, right? And so you use that resume to help you get the interview. Got it? So think about that. When you need to customize your message, that's where the resume is best. And when an industry and employer, another reason why your resume is best, and maybe there's an industry or employer that's not using LinkedIn like other industries can or do, and that's just not a part of their culture. That's not a part of their industry. They're not using LinkedIn to seek and find talent. They're looking to search resumes. They're looking to look at that resume into their application tracking system. You can upload that to get scanned by their computers to help that recruiter or that hiring manager internally find the best next candidate for the role or those that they want to interview. And not every resume, right, gets looked at in with a fine-tooth comb unless it has some selling points up front. And one of the selling points up front in your resume is to have that title that you're going after that has keywords in that title that makes the application tracking system technology activate that resume and get it into the hands or in front of the eyes of the right people hiring for that position. And then your summary statement needs to sell what you do best, seeking to serve, sharing how you solve problems in the marketplace right underneath that headline. And then you start providing supporting statements to your work experience, your education, what others say about you, and so on and so forth to get you that interview. So when you get to that interview, you can get the job and explain away all those things on your resume. Now, that's a mouthful. I get it. So your resume is best, again, is when you're applying for a specific job that you've targeted and you need to customize your message. A resume is best when it's maybe a little bit more old school, not as technologically driven kind of industry or company or culture, and you want to make sure that resume shines and shines well because that may be the only place they find you. Now, where LinkedIn is best, where your LinkedIn profile is best, is LinkedIn is where people in industries, in certain situations, many situations, 95% of recruiters, as a matter of fact, are on LinkedIn, when they are going to seek out solutions to the problems they're experiencing in the marketplace or in their job or in their company, right? So your LinkedIn profile better sell your story and showcase your value about what you do best, how you understand the problems that are experienced by those companies out there in your target industry, in your target field, in your target area, geographically, wherever the case may be. You understand those problems and you are sharing your story and showcasing your value, seeking to serve how you solve those problems. Got it? Your LinkedIn profile, again, is a dynamic opportunity. It has multimedia. It has visual representation for you to sell your what you do best. That's why I love LinkedIn. LinkedIn has two approaches or two purposes. And I share this in my digital courses. I share this in other LinkedIn lives that I've done, is that LinkedIn has two main purposes. Number one purpose is proactive. You need to lean into LinkedIn, leverage LinkedIn by putting your best foot forward, having the best content in your profile, having the right profile photo, having the right keywords in the right places, having the right work experience detailed out and things like that, having call to actions in your profile, right? Having recommendations, all those good things, okay? You want to have in your profile for it to be solid. And I share with folks how to do that. Check out these lives every single week. We give you little bite-sized nuggets and chunks. I have 2-minute hot tips on Fridays that come out. They'll help you with LinkedIn. But the proactive approach is what you put into it, the work that you invest, the time that you invest into your profile, okay? On the flip side, though, is the reactive approach. And that's where people can come live or 24/7, 365 and be able to find out who has solutions to their problems they're experiencing in the marketplace. And that is an amazing benefit that resumes don't have the corner on. but your LinkedIn profile has an advantage in this way, that it can be found 24/7, 365 when you have the right keywords, you have the right content, and those recruiters, headhunters, and hiring managers are typing in the search engine for LinkedIn and finding you, right? Are they finding you? Well, that's what you want to take advantage of, the reactive and proactive approach of LinkedIn. Do what you can on the proactive approach, but be prepared for the reactive approach that takes advantage of all that work you've invested. Right? Sometimes people want to make changes to their profile and boom, right away expect results. It's not going to happen. It takes time for that to kind of saturate. It takes time for that place to kind of marinate. It takes time for that to get seen by the right people within your network, which is why it's important to grow your network, because the more eyeballs on your network, or the more eyeballs on your profile, the more the larger your network. Okay? So a lot to go on here. But LinkedIn, again, is best because it's digital. It can be changed very quickly. You can use it with video. You can use multimedia. I'd encourage you to take a look at that featured section. You have an advantage. I just did a 2-minute hot tip last Friday. You can find it on my YouTube channel about how to use the featured section and to really shine on LinkedIn, to leverage and lean into LinkedIn, and so on and so forth. All right. So how do you want to use them together in a job search? Well, you want to remember that LinkedIn is not the same as your resume. And your resume, as we just shared, is not the same as your LinkedIn. But they do go together. You do want them to have a synchronized approach. You do want them not to say completely opposite things of one another, right? But remember, you can customize your resume for that role, but you can't necessarily customize LinkedIn for that role. You have to have like a more of a broad, sweeping approach when it comes to LinkedIn. You have a more targeted, laser-focused approach on your resume. But the two can go together. When your headline is very clear on LinkedIn, right, that you're seeking to serve those who need most with what you do best, that you're using the right keywords, and I share having a 4-keyword phrase with an expertise statement. Go look at my profile. You'll see what I'm talking about. Then if that resume fits underneath that headline, you're good to go, right? You can't say everything you want to say on your LinkedIn. You can't say everything you want to say on your resume, but those are things for people to take next steps with you. Those are tools for people to see, I'd like to know more about him or her. And they take next steps with you through a phone call, a contact point, an interview, and so on and so forth, right? So we're going over a lot today, but I want you to know that your resume should have things in it that your LinkedIn profile should have, and your LinkedIn profile should have things that your resume has. But I'm going to encourage you not to just upload your resume to LinkedIn and leave it there hoping that it gets seen. If you're going to do that, you can put it in your featured section, but I wouldn't make that be your main focus or your main thought for LinkedIn. Your LinkedIn is not your resume, and your resume is not LinkedIn, but they do work together. Taking bullets from each work experience that you're sharing and showcasing on your resume, take the top 3 bullets and put it into your LinkedIn profile under work experience, under your job duties or responsibilities. Don't drop every single little thing that's in your resume into your LinkedIn profile. Why? Because it just reads too long. Usually, the way LinkedIn is formatted is that it already has a lot of white space. It's already technologically driven to give you like a lot of opportunity for multimedia and different graphics and just different visual representation your resume doesn't have. Don't make it extra long for someone to view or read, whether on a phone or a desktop, when you drop everything from your resume into your LinkedIn profile. Don't do that. I would say the top 3 things, 4 things max you have on your resume, you take to your LinkedIn profile. And if I were to encourage you what those things would be, the things that show quantitative and qualitative results. The things that show results. I think they say the resume or LinkedIn profile that gets results are the ones that share results. So if you know numbers or data or just financials, or maybe number of people you've managed, or number of people you've influenced, or money saved, time saved, effort reduced, effort saved. Those are the kind of things quantitatively and qualitatively that share results. You want to kind of fine-tooth comb your resume and your LinkedIn profile and going, am I sharing these results? Am I sharing numbers? Am I sharing what was the end result for this work that I put in? If not, get some help in adding to it. That's why I do career coaching and resume writing with folks that I coach in their careers, is helping them really celebrate and share those results that will really help them to shine and showcase their value to the marketplace, because employers want to see that stuff happen for them, right? And if you've done that other places, share that. No matter if it was for a paid role or volunteer role, Doesn't matter. Share that stuff, but be selective in what you share. Remember, the interview will happen based on what they like in their LinkedIn profile, based on what they liked in your resume. That's when you get an interview. And when you get an interview, you get a chance to get the job. They don't happen without each other. There's usually a framework here, a step-by-step approach. So remember that. So again, use them in tandem. Use them in tandem. Make sure your resume has your LinkedIn profile in the contact section up top so folks can see you, can find you, and always be able to refer to it. Feel confident. If you're not confident that you can refer from your resume to your LinkedIn profile, you got some work to do, my friend, on your LinkedIn profile. And we can help. That's why you're on this video, which is great, right? That's why you're watching this live. Whatever the case may be, that's a good thing. So if you have any questions, let's go ahead and get into those things. We can't get through it all, but I want to encourage you, just make your resume and your LinkedIn profile work together, not mirrors of each other, but under the same heading, under the same headline, under the same framing, under the same focus and target, okay? That's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. Remembering that your resume is more passive, your LinkedIn profile is more active, but yet one can be customized for a role and one can't. So they need to get working out. You need to be getting to work together. You need to be getting work together. So for those of you that are on it, what questions do you have about this live or about LinkedIn in general? Be glad to get those to you so you can use these resumes and your LinkedIn profile that you continue working, continue making better to get your next job, to get your next role. It's nice to see that people know that you're focused, you're purposed, you're passionate, you're positive, right? You're prepared, and you're ready to serve. That's what you want your resume. That's what you want your LinkedIn profile to share, okay? And you want them to get them working in tandem, kind of like Batman and Robin, or Huey, Louie, and Dewey. I think there's the three little ducks from Disney, whatever. So keep that in mind. That's what you want to work together. And this kind of stuff I talk about and more in the free guide. You can download your LinkedIn profile quick start guide. Easy for me to say, right? But your LinkedIn profile quick start guide you can get at brianhorvath.com/LinkedIn-quick-start. And we go over more of these kinds of things. It helps you really do a self-audit of your LinkedIn profile. Okay. So let's get into some Q&A. What Q&A do you have? Let's see. Catherine has a good question. Should I buy LinkedIn Pro or Premium? Should I buy LinkedIn Premium? Great question. I would have to know a little bit more context. Where are you at in your job search? If you're in a job search, I would say it's a great idea to go ahead and invest in it. I think if I'm not grandfathered into the price at the time of this recording, it's probably about, after taxes, about $33 a month, and you can cancel at any time. So it's a cool thing to check out if you have not already trialed it out for, I think it's a month trial or maybe a 7-day trial. I forget what the time span is for the trial for LinkedIn Premium. But it's a question I get asked often. A couple of the things I celebrate and like about LinkedIn Premium is one is, great question, Catherine. Catherine's saying she's starting. So starting your search. I would say trial it out. Get your profile where you're a little bit more comfortable maybe with it. Or let me ask you, I shouldn't just say that. That's not a qualified statement. If you're satisfied with your profile, to publicly share it today with a potential or a prospective employer, I would say go ahead and invest in LinkedIn Premium. And if not, trial it if you can. But some of the benefits, what I celebrate about it is it gives you more in-mail credits is one. In-mail is basically LinkedIn's messaging system that if you're not connected with a potential recruiter or headhunter or hiring manager, someone of influence within the company you're targeting, you can bypass having to be a connection with them, and you can in-mail them and make sure your in-mail message really shares value, right? Maybe reference a job that you're applying for or something like that really makes them want to look at it, okay? But also it allows you to see folks that are looking at your profile, which I like, because it's kind of like, if someone's pinging me or selecting my profile, I want to see who they were, what industry they're in, what company they're from, and kind of do a little digging. It kind of goes, well, how did they land on me? Why did they land on me? Is this a role that I may be interested in? Let's say you applied for a role at said company and someone from that company start looking at your profile. Well, go ahead and see with LinkedIn Premium, you'll be able to see who that is and then start taking steps to connect with them and communicate with them from there, which is a nice benefit. Kind of helps you with your curiosity as well. Another opportunity with LinkedIn Premium is that you get a chance to take advantage of LinkedIn Learning. And there's some great classes on LinkedIn via LinkedIn Learning. Those are some cool opportunities you get to have there. As well as my last one I'll leave you with that question is LinkedIn Insights. There's some cool LinkedIn Insights that you can get for a company. Maybe see, what kind of roles they've been hiring for lately. What's their growth over a certain amount of months? Are they growing in a certain area? So especially if you're prospecting or targeting a specific company in a certain department, are they growing in that department, or are they trending down in that department? And just kind of helps pique your interest or kind of get you thinking about why that may be. So great question. I would definitely check it out on LinkedIn Premium. That's a good investment. Okay, so Yvette has a question here as well. Is the summary area where you put your keywords? So I'm going to go ahead and just ask you for clarity there too, Yvette. Is it summary you're talking about? And thanks for checking out on Facebook here. Is it summary you're checking out? Are you talking about LinkedIn summary, or are you talking about your summary in your resume? I would say both of those would be great places for your keywords. Specifically, those are answering the question I often ask my clients: what do you do best? And they'll brainstorm with me. And I'd say, well, who needs it the most? And we'll brainstorm what industry areas. And a combination of those two statements put together start helping you kind of refine and put together your keywords that you want to make sure get seen. And keywords are basically how the LinkedIn algorithm or resume application tracking systems, all that kind of stuff, start scanning and searching for those keywords to help you get on top of the stack for the recruiter or hiring manager of the role that you're seeking to apply for or to get after. And so definitely a keyword-rich area is summary, both in resume and LinkedIn. So great question. All right. On LinkedIn, yes. And if you just see only a headline field on LinkedIn, that's also a keyword-rich area and one of the top places for keywords. But the number one important place for your keywords is to be in your current job title. That will get you the most value for having keywords in your LinkedIn profile is your current job title. Just keep that in mind. So your current job title, your past job title, as well as your summary or what's called about section, on LinkedIn. It used to be called summary, so forgive me. Your about section and summary are synonymous on LinkedIn, and then also your headline. Okay? Great question. If you don't see an about section on your LinkedIn profile just yet, you want to go to add profile section, which appears right under your headline or right under your profile photo and your profile image or your cover image there and your background image on LinkedIn, and you'll see add profile section, and under core you'll add an about section. Then it will give you a blank box for you to start completing that. Great stuff. Yvette, you're welcome. Thank you. You're welcome. My pleasure. Pleasure to serve, seeking to serve you. So, Catherine, hopefully that answered some of your questions as well. And anyone else that's out there listening today, love to get you any questions answered for you in this Q&A before we wrap up. But I really want to review with you one more time the opportunities that you have. Okay, the opportunities. Let me go back to that one slide here. The opportunities that you have in your LinkedIn profile and your resume are to work together. You do not want them to be the same. They have different applications, but there needs to be continuity and synchronicity, if you will, between both. And so the cool thing is you can actually print out your LinkedIn profile. You can save it to a PDF and print it, and then lay that side by side with your resume and just kind of look and see after you're satisfied to a certain amount of work with both of them and see how they sync up or not, and find ways to make sure they sync up. Not the same, but dovetailing, syncing up, working together like Batman and Robin in tandem as you go about your next place. So thank you so much for being here on today's LinkedIn Live Q&A. Every Wednesday at noon, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we talk about these kinds of things. And thanks, Catherine, for checking out the info on the website. I appreciate it. Appreciate you checking in and being here. And again, it's up to you guys that are viewing this, whether on a replay or live. I'm here for you. So if you have questions throughout the week, go ahead and email me. I'd love to get them answered for you. It's my privilege and pleasure and opportunity to serve you. And as I've served thousands of people over the years, and excited to be able to be with you every single week at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard as well. So again, there's the email address. Go ahead and email me your questions at brian@brianhorvath.com, and be glad to be able to serve you with that. And one more time, I really encourage you to go to the website, brianhorvath.com/LinkedIn-quick-start, and download that 7 steps there guide to help you make the right connections on the world's largest professional network, LinkedIn. Oh, and Catherine, yeah, great point. You're going to research other keywords for others in my field. Exactly, spot on. That's what's so neat about LinkedIn that you wouldn't be able to get a chance to do other places. That is a smart thing, a great thing. And build your network as well with people within your industry, because what LinkedIn does, especially if you're part of Premium, it will allow you to see more people who have viewed your profile, yes, but others like you or others like people in your network that you should be connecting with. And that's going to help you, of course, LinkedIn likes it because you stay on the platform, but it's going to help you get ideas, build a network, get focused, see what others are doing, and find best practices, as well as checking out more of these videos and getting a quick start guide. So it can be done. It's not difficult. Keep in mind using these things in tandem. So thankful to be with you guys today. How to use your resume and LinkedIn together to get your next job. So appreciate you guys. Go get them, and look forward to seeing you on the next live.